If you were able to create this bootable USB successfully, you will get to this screen. Just go with the first option. Okay, you should see this install Linux Mint. Double click it. Now you should choose your language. Keyboard layout. Now, by default, you will not be able to play videos or MP3 files, and if you want to have all these multimedia codecs, you can just click this checkbox and install everything. For the purpose of this video, I don't need this, so I'll click continue. Okay, if you have a new hard drive, you can just erase the disk and install Linux Mint, but I am going to show you the other way. Now, this is my entire hard disk. Normally the partitions in Linux go like SDA1, SDA2, 3 and so on. If this is your primary hard drive, maybe you have a second hard drive, so it will appear as def SDB, so it will go SDB1, SDB2. Back in time, there were these ID drives, so maybe if you're using some really old computer, you might see HDA. Don't worry, you know, the principle is the same. Now, I'm going to create some new partition table. Okay, it asks, okay, are you sure you want to do this? Yes. And now you'll need one partition for your root file system. Now, one thing to note is that you can create several partitions, and let's say you can put home in a separate partition, let's say in SDA2 or 3. You can do the same for TMP or var. I'm going to explain all these directories in a later video, but for now I'm just selecting this mount point, which is mandatory. I'm going to leave some space for you know, the swap partition. Now, type for new partition, just leave it as primary, but I don't know, sometimes people have more than one primary partition. You can have, as far as I remember, up to 4 primary partitions. So in any case, if you don't have any primary partitions left, then just choose logical. I would recommend to use primary. Now, location for the new partition, beginning of this space, end of this space, just leave it beginning of this space. You can choose a different file system. Now ext4 and ext3 are the most popular ones. Depending on your situation, you might choose some different file system. I'm going to go with ext4. Maybe I'll do some other video just to explain the differences. Click OK. And You need one more partition for the swap. No, swap is not mandatory. But it is a good idea to have some swap space, you know. In Windows you have this swap file, but in Linux it's like a swap partition. This is in case you run out of memory. So I'll click OK. Now usually people recommend to have double the size. Let's say you have 2 gigabytes of RAM, then you dedicate 4 gigabytes of swap, and if you have 4, then it's 8, and so on. But for this video I'm just going to allocate a smaller partition size for the swap. Click OK, and you are ready to go. I guess that if you have some other partition here, it's a good idea to format it. And now you are ready. Just click install now. It will ask you. Okay. Are you sure? Okay, I'm sure. Just go. Now you can choose some time zone. Set up some username. You can encrypt your home folder or log in automatically. I don't recommend login automatically. I'm not going to encrypt my home folder for this one. Just click continue. And basically that's about it. Now you are just waiting for the files to be copied and to be installed. You can even check like the terminal, what's going on in the background during the installation. Also you can navigate and check what's going on. As you see, you have some software like Firefox, YouTube. You can install this under Linux. You have Spotify, Rhythmbox is just for listening to music locally. You have programs like VLC to watch videos. Some programs to view photos, also edit photos. GIMP is a great alternative to Photoshop. Inkscape, great alternative to Adobe Illustrator. You have also the popular messaging apps like Skype, WhatsApp, Slack, Telegram. Also, by default, you get some Office software. I would say great alternative to Microsoft Office. I haven't used anything advanced from Microsoft Office, so I don't need it. I don't need the full package. You have Steam, you can play games, Blender, great tool for 3D animation. I tried Steam, you can play games. I played some games under Linux with good performance, no problems at all. You just have to check what's available. Also, you can run VirtualBox, Wine, Wine is some program, you know, it stands for Wine is not an emulator. It helps you run Windows software under Linux. And you can customize how your desktop looks like, the package manager. You can find some help, of course. And yeah, during the installation, of course, you can still browse. You can even go online, start Firefox, open some web page, just kill some time while the installation is running. One thing which is important at the end of the installation, if you have several hard drives, you will need to select where to install the bootloader. What is the bootloader? It's a small program which boots up Linux. Usually under Windows you don't see this. Also with FreeBSD you don't see this. There is some bootloader which starts the operating system. But under Linux you need this. Back in time there was GRUB version 1, there was Leo. Now these are obsolete, and I guess the standard is GRUB2. With GRUB2 also you can configure it to start other operating systems such as Windows, and if you have multiple installations of Linux, let's say you have Ubuntu, let's say you have Arch Linux, let's say you have Fedora, or maybe you have also FreeBSD, OpenBSD, then you can set up group to boot all of these operating systems. But since I have one hard drive here, I will probably not get this question. Let's wait and see. Now, usually depending on your hardware and your Wi-Fi setup and your motherboard configuration, you might get some problems. Maybe you will not be able to boot, or something like this. So you need to configure your motherboard and check what type of installation are you performing. Are you performing Wi-Fi installation or BIOS? So this is quite important. In the end, after the installation, you might get some problem. If this is the case, maybe you can leave some comment under this video, and someone can help you resolve this problem. I'll do separate videos just to introduce you to some of the basic programs. And installation is ready. Now you are ready to use your new system. Just click restart now.